Make no mistake about it, this was a highly unusual crash, and one which in almost any other era of Formula One might have resulted in a very different outcome.
He's motoring into second place, and he hits Rubens Barrichello. Huge accident! Oh my goodness!
If you have a big crash, it can hurt a lot. You just feel gutted when you do come together or you crash because you realize you've let down a huge amount of people.
There are certain moments where silence falls on a racing track and you know what that means.
You need courage to race in Formula One, but you need chaos to make history. And trust me, this sport delivers. From championship showdowns to cars doing backflips at 200 miles an hour. F1 has turned disaster into drama more times than we can count.
Not only has he survived going through a barrier at 160 miles an hour.
I think it was the right decision all around. Lewis did a good job of avoiding an accident, because an accident very well could have happened there.
Within a ball of fire, that the heat must have been so extreme. It was a miracle. It was absolutely a miracle.
These aren't just moments, they're meltdowns, miracles, and full-blown madness. Here are the 10 most dramatic moments this sport has ever seen. Number 1, Barcelona 2016, the Mercedes meltdown. You know what's worse than losing a race? Taking yourself out on lap 1 and taking your teammate with you. That's exactly what happened at the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg were locked in a title fight, and neither was backing down. Off the line, Rosberg got the jump, but by turn 3, he was in the wrong engine mode, slower than a lawnmower. Hamilton saw the gap and went for it. Rosberg didn't flinch. What came next? Total disaster. Hamilton hits the grass, loses control, and boom.
Hamilton's onto the grass, and Hamilton's had a massive crash, and he's crashed into his teammate. The two Mercedes come together.
Both Mercedes are in the gravel before the race has even started. Lap 1, game over. The garage was in shock. Toto Wolff was fuming. Niki Lauda blamed Hamilton. The peace treaty? Gone. But while Mercedes imploded, a teenager stepped into the spotlight. 18-year-old Max Verstappen, in his very first race for Red Bull, held off Raikkonen like a seasoned pro and crossed the line first. Youngest F1 winner in history. A meltdown for Mercedes, a miracle for Max. Barcelona 2016 had it all. Number 2, Imola 1994, the darkest weekend in F1. Formula One has seen crashes, rivalries, even full-on chaos, but nothing compares to Imola 1994. It started bad and only got worse. On Friday, Rubens Barrichello hit the curb at Variante Bassa and launched into the air. He slammed into the fence, knocked out cold. Everyone held their breath. He survived, but the mood instantly shifted. Then came Saturday. Roland Ratzenberger, a rookie fighting for his place in F1, suffered a front wing failure going flat out. He hit the wall at over 180 miles per hour and never walked away. It was the sport's first on-track death in over a decade. But the nightmare wasn't over. On Sunday, on lap 7, Ayrton Senna left the track at Tamburello and hit the wall hard.
Senna bateu forte. Ali na Tamburello. A batida muito forte.
Medics rushed in, the race paused, but Senna was gone. The world lost a legend. That weekend changed F1 forever. New safety rules, stronger cars, better tracks, all because of what happened at Imola. And still, to this day, it hurts to talk about. Senna's legacy didn't end there. In some ways, it was just beginning. Number 3, Abu Dhabi 2021, the final lap controversy. After 21 races, it all came down to this. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen tied on points. One final race to decide it all.
When Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen almost collided on the opening lap.
Hamilton had the lead, he had the pace, and with just a few laps to go, it looked like title number 8 was in the bag. Then Nicholas Latifi crashed. Safety car? Game on. Red Bull took the gamble. Verstappen came in for soft tires. Mercedes left Hamilton out on hard, but no one expected what came next. Race director Michael Nasi made the call to let only the lapped cars between Max and Lewis unlap themselves. Not all of them, just enough to clear the track for one lap of chaos. And in that final lap, Max pounced. Fresh tires, one shot, and boom, he passed Hamilton to win his first world championship.
After Max Verstappen's dramatic last lap title-winning victory in Abu Dhabi.
Fans erupted, Mercedes protested. The FIA admitted to human error but kept the result. Some called it legendary, others called it robbery. Either way, the 2021 season didn't end with a checkered flag. It ended with controversy that shook Formula One to its core. Number 4, Canadian Grand Prix 2011, Button's miracle comeback. If there was ever a race that proved F1 is never over until it's over, this was it. Jenson Button started the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix like it was a demolition derby. He collided with Lewis Hamilton, got hit with a drive-through penalty, took out Alonso. At one point, he was dead last, 21st 90 seconds behind the lead in the pouring rain. And somehow, he still won. As the chaos unfolded, Button stayed locked in. The track dried, he nailed the tire calls and started picking drivers off one by one. Slicks on, elbows out, no mistakes. By the final lap, he had clawed his way up to second. Vettel was ahead, cool and in control, but the pressure was on. One corner from the finish, Vettel twitched, ran wide. That was all Button needed. 70 laps, 6 pit stops, 5 hours of madness, and Jenson Button crossed the line first. It wasn't just a win, it was a masterclass. Fans still call it the greatest wet race in F1 history, and honestly, they might be right. Number 5, Hungary 2021, first corner carnage and the one-man grid. The 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix started like a bowling match and ended with one of the weirdest podiums in F1 history. As the lights went out, chaos exploded into turn 1. Valtteri Bottas completely misjudged his braking, rear-ended Lando Norris, and triggered a chain reaction that took out both Red Bulls. Max Verstappen's car was torn up, Sergio Perez was out, and just behind them, Lance Stroll added to the mess by plowing into Charles Leclerc. 6 cars caught up in a single corner. Red flag, total reset, and then things got even stranger. When the race restarted, the track had dried. Every driver dove into the pits to change tires, every driver except one. Lewis Hamilton was the only car left on the actual grid. It was one of the most bizarre sights in F1 history. One car, lights out, all alone. That gamble didn't work. Hamilton dropped to the back and had to fight through the field. But it was Esteban Ocon who took the win, holding off Sebastian Vettel to score his first ever F1 victory. Mayhem, strategy, and one lonely grid spot. Hungary 2021 delivered. Number 6, Monza 2008, the underdog victory. You don't usually see miracles in Formula One, but in Monza 2008, one happened in the rain. Sebastian Vettel was just 21 years old, driving for Toro Rosso, a midfield team that had never sniffed a win. Nobody expected anything from them. They were the Red Bull Junior squad, more known for DNFs than trophies. Then, out of nowhere, Vettel stuck it on pole. In the wet, in a Toro Rosso, people thought it was a fluke until Sunday came. The race was soaked, the visibility was garbage, and the conditions were brutal.
Just makes you love Formula One all over again. He's about to take his first Grand Prix victory and become the youngest winner ever.
But Vettel, he drove like a veteran. Clean start, perfect pace, no mistakes. He led almost every lap and finished 12 seconds ahead of Heikki Kovalainen's McLaren. That win didn't just make history, it made a star. Vettel became the youngest driver ever to win a Grand Prix at the time, and Toro Rosso got their first and only F1 victory. It wasn't just an upset, it was a full-blown fairy tale. One kid, one tiny team, one perfect weekend. Monza 2008 was magic. Number 7, European Grand Prix 2007, the Nurburgring monsoon. The Nurburgring is known for unpredictable weather, but 2007 took that to a whole new level. The race started drying, everything looked normal, but by lap 2, the sky opened up like it had a personal grudge against Formula One. Within seconds, the track turned into a river. Jenson Button was the first to spin, then Hamilton, then Setil, Rosberg, Speed, Luzzi. Cars were sliding off like it was an ice rink. One corner, turn 1, swallowed 6 drivers in under 30 seconds.
It's no laughing matter, this. These cars, 750 horsepower, they'll do.
Marshals were running across gravel traps just to avoid getting hit. It was absolute chaos. Visibility dropped, grip vanished, and the race had to be red flagged. Somehow, Marcus Winkelhock, a debut driver for the backmarker Spiker team, ended up leading the race. Why? He was the only one who had started on wet tires. He pitted before the lights even went out. He didn't win, but for a few magical laps, The slowest car on the grid was in front of everyone. Nurburgring 2007 wasn't a race. It was a storm, a slip and slide, and a strategy masterclass all at once. Number 8, Interlagos 1991. Senna wins with one gear. If there's one thing Ayrton Senna hated, it was losing at home. And in 1991, he finally had the chance to fix that. Senna started on pole in front of a roaring Brazilian crowd. He pulled away clean, built a gap, and looked unstoppable. But halfway through the race, things started breaking. First, he lost 4th gear, then 3rd, then 5th. By lap 60, Senna was stuck in 6th and still had over 10 laps to go. Most drivers would have parked it. Senna wasn't most drivers. With only 1 gear left, he muscled the car through corners, wrestling it like a wild animal. Every lap looked like it might be the last. Behind him, Riccardo Patrese was closing in fast. But Senna held on. He crossed the line just 3 seconds ahead, winning his first ever Brazilian Grand Prix. And the moment he did, he collapsed in the cockpit, completely drained. His mechanics had to lift him out of the car. He could barely raise the trophy. It wasn't just a victory, it was a battle, and Senna won it with nothing left to give. Number 9, European Grand Prix 2010. Mark Webber goes airborne. You don't expect to see a Formula One car flying through the air like a fighter jet, but that's exactly what happened to Mark Webber in Valencia. It was lap 9 of the European Grand Prix. Webber was behind Heikki Kovalainen and closing fast, too fast. He pulled out to pass, but Kovalainen braked earlier than expected. Webber had nowhere to go. He slammed into the back of the Lotus and launched into the air like a missile. Full vertical, completely airborne, flipped upside down, then smashed into the tarmac nose, first at nearly 200 miles per hour. He bounced, spun, and slammed into the barriers. Everyone watching thought the worst, but then, unbelievably, Webber climbed out. Shaken, but okay. The crash was terrifying, and it raised serious questions about back marker pace and closing speeds. But more than anything, it reminded the world just how violent F1 can be. Even in the modern era, 1 second he was chasing points, the next he was upside down at full speed. Webber walked away, but that moment, no one forgot it. Number 10, Jerez 1997. Schumacher versus Villeneuve, the dirty move. Championship on the line. One race to decide it all. Michael Schumacher versus Jacques Villeneuve. Jerez 1997 had all the ingredients for a classic, and then it went off the rails. Both drivers qualified with identical lap times down to the 1,000th of a second. Schumacher started ahead, but Villeneuve was right on him. Lap after lap, the pressure built. Then, on lap 48, Villeneuve went for the move down the inside. What did Schumacher do? He turned in, straight into him. It was obvious. Schumacher tried to take him out, but this time it backfired. Villeneuve stayed on track. Schumacher ended up beached in the gravel, out of the race, out of the title fight, and soon, out of the history books. Villeneuve finished 3rd, which was enough to win the championship. Days later, the FIA disqualified Schumacher from the entire season standings. No points, no 2nd place, just shame. It was one of the dirtiest moves F1 had ever seen, and this time, the sport didn't let it slide. That moment defined a rivalry, and it defined how far some drivers will go to win. You just saw F1 at its wildest, but trust me, we've only scratched the surface. Some stories don't end with champagne. They end with lawsuits, suspensions, and careers in flames. One driver nearly died because a team ignored warnings. Another faked their way into a Grand Prix. Want to know who? Click right here, and let's keep the madness going.